but a couple of absences after a couple of red cards last week for the Cardinals. They only have 2 listed defenders in their starting 11, whereas Chicago State on the other side has 5 listed defenders out there today.
Yeah, Cardinals leaving a lot of players back in Texas. Will Ansah and Brady Drozdowski both picked up red cards in their last match against Houston Christian. They were forced to finish that game with 9, and it was being a man short that allowed Houston Christian to come back and tie that. They were up 10-9. A lot of physical play in that game. 3 red cards, so each team finished the game short, but Houston Christian able to pick up a late goal when the Cardinals were down to 9. Yeah, the Cardinals have left about 8 or 9 players back in Texas, so a bit short-handed. We'll see if the Cougars in that kind of high-pressure defense, and here's the first opportunity in the box and cleared out of harm's way. That was a great opportunity for the Cougars early on.
Well, Curry out with a great ball, just curling outswinger right in front of the keeper. That's Consta. Just a beautiful ball. Found his man right in the middle of the 6, but could not connect there with the finish.
Could not connect. I believe it was Eduardo Flores in the 6 there. And the Chicago State defense is very high pressure. They force the opposition to make mistakes. They force them to make perfect passes, and they're going to be right on top of this Incarnate Word team. And here comes the Cardinals down in now in the box, and there's a beautiful save by Fontana.
That was a beautiful ball down the right channel. DePoco can absolutely fly. He's one of 5 guys in the starting 11 that has been out there in the starting lineup in all 10 games already. They have had not a whole lot of changeover in this starting 11 throughout the season. A showcase in the burst there, almost with a quick goal.
Yeah, DePoco, the 5'9" sophomore down that right side, and Fontana forced to make a hard save. And as a goalie, that's not always the easiest thing in the world, that first save having to be a diving one. You like to get that first save as like a 30 or 40 foot lollipop that you can see into the arms. So Fontana forced into action here in the early going.
Yeah, you can kind of think about it 2 ways, right? It's like basketball. You either make a 3 and get the confidence going, or you go to the free throw line or easy layup, and boom, you got the confidence and the feet underneath you. But making a diving save right out of the gate, I'm sure his confidence is flowing through the veins right now. And
we'll have a corner kick here for the Cardinals as Incarnate Word turning defense into offense quickly. They're going to have a corner kick down in the far corner.
Ellie Zalde is going to go over and take it, the 5'7" sophomore from Lone Star High School, making his 8th start of the year. He's got a couple of assists.
And you'd have to think these types of set plays would favor Chicago State just from a height advantage. They have 6 players that stand taller than the tallest Cardinal, and right there, a header down, knocked out of bounds.
That was Chigade right in front. All he had to do was turn that and steer it on frame. It was actually almost maybe even harder to miss the frame of goal from that close, but headed it just wide of the far post.
Wide of the far post, Chicago State running with 4 players 6'4" or 4 players rather 6'4" or higher. And you want to see the Cougars at some point use that height to their advantage, especially on set plays in the box. They've got the height, need to take advantage of it. They have the ball here.
And you talked about their pressure, and they're a very physical group, right? And you've also talked about, they generally have gotten off to slow starts, right? Still only 1 goal in the first half. 10 of their 11 goals have come after the halftime whistle, so they've been great there. But it's about pressuring, getting the turnovers, forcing the issue, and then drawing those fouls in the attacking third of the field where you could set up those set plays, set up those corners, and get the big bodies forward.
Yeah, this Cougars team started the season 2-1-1, and things were looking up, but they've lost 5 straight matches since that 2-1 start.
That's just beautiful bodying by Colway Allen. That's the size on full display.
Yep.
It's on the other end. They obviously want to showcase the offense even of a guy like Colway, the 6'4" senior from Jamaica. But, that was just beautiful shielding work on the defensive side.
Yeah, Allen is where the offense will start for the Cougars. He has the ball right now. Almost always their offense will start on the back line with number 12 in gray and green. Incarnate Word. Now with the ball in space, that's DePoco. Left foots it over to the far side. And you see Chicago State coming right up on the ball carrier, forcing the opposition to make the perfect pass or the perfect dribble. And this is where where the Cougars tend to be successful, when they're able to turn their defense, turn turnovers into offense.
That's generally when they've been at their best this year, and you know right now the emphasis in training, I'm sure the last couple of days and even coming into today, I'm sure the pre-match meeting was talking a lot about the defense. You can't concede the first today. They were kind of a sieve defensively. Really, both of these sides were on Thursday, but obviously 7 goals allowed to a very high-quality Liberty team. They're trying to change that here right out of the gate.
And Cougars haven't played with a lot of leads this season. Even their 2 victories resulted from late goals that allowed them to come from behind. So playing with a lead is not something they're comfortable with or not something they've done a lot of. So they would like, obviously, to pick up that first goal. Here's Curiel now with the left foot in the box. There's Juhas now. Juhas taps it forward. The shot by, I think we're going to have a foul called. Got a couple players down. Are they going to call the foul on... We're going to call a foul on the Cougars here.
Yeah, Timothy Ospina, I think, kind of took the brunt of that right on the top of the Cardinals' 18-yard box. But that play all really got started with the high pressure that you were just talking about. Shaquan Reed, right, the guy from Jamaica, guy who could fly up that right-hand side, kind of a right wing back for him, forced the turnover in the opposition's box, and got a good shot there from Curiel and almost a rebound opportunity.
And we've talked about Dasha Curiel a couple of times. The freshman out of Rockford only has 1 assist on the season, but has really showed up out on the field this year. You'll see number 27 in gray with that ball on his foot quite regularly. And Cougars just looking for some finishes here, and those assist numbers should pile up for Dasha pretty quickly. And that was Udu Now that was called for the foul at the top of the box. So Arafat making his fourth appearance of the season for the Cougars. He's got 2 goals in 3 games, so hopefully providing a little bit of additional offense as Danny Sergiev doesn't get the start today, leads the team in goals with 3. Calwayne Allen, the only other one with more than 1. And here comes Curiel again down the near side, the right-footed cross onto the foot on the far side, and the Cardinals are able to work that out of trouble. So there's Curiel again with that cross. And eventually you have to think he's going to connect on one of those.
I don't know if that was Poe Rand that maybe brought that down. Great first touch, but the second one kind of just let him down. Another opportunity right in the center of that 18-yard box, right by the penalty spot.
Calwayne Allen playing it back to Fontana. Fontana, the right foot. Mishits it a little bit.
But you're talking Curiel. There's 3 freshmen out there between these 2 sides today. Curiel, the lone freshman in the roster and on the starting lineup, I should say, today for Norris House's squad, freshman from Rockford. He's already been out there 9 starts. He's appeared in every contest. That's going to be a name I'm sure you're going to be hearing for a long time here in the OVC.
There's Shaquan Reed, another junior. And you can see they're really trying to work the ball to Curiel down here on the near side of the field. A little bit of a miss pass that time, but you can see their offensive strategy here is get it to 27 on the near side and let him create. But again, you watch this Chicago State defense. They're not giving Incarnate Word really any chance to breathe. They are attacking the ball carrier no matter where that ball carrier is. And with Incarnate Word being a little shorthanded, you might see that come into play here earlier than maybe you would otherwise. And for the Cougars, that's a good thing. Maybe get on the board here in the first half, go to halftime with the lead rather than trying to figure out how to come from behind.
Yeah, both these teams have been playing from behind a whole bulk of the season here in the early going, including even in that 3-3 draw. The Cardinals were down 2-0 early. They came back, took the 3-2 advantage. We talked about the red cards already. Certainly discipline is something that needs to improve here in the weekend tilt. Second in OVC action for Incarnate Word.
Yeah, physical play is fine. The Chicago State defense, very, very physical. But you got to be careful not to cross that line. You pick up your 2 yellow cards, you're out, you're thrown out of that game, you miss the next game, and that's what's happening here to the Cardinals as they're down a couple of their upperclassmen, a couple of defensive starters, and Will Ansa and Brady Drozdowski both staying home in Texas due to red cards incurred in their last game.
Yeah, Ansa, the junior from London, thought he looked really good last time out, and Drozdowski obviously scored a goal before he was sent off in that last match.
Shot over the crossbar, and I think they're going to say it was deflected. So this will be another corner kick here for the Cardinals, their second of the match. This is Elizalde taking the corner from the near side.
And they have to take the corners from both sides. So in-swinger on the last one. This will be an out-swinger from the lefty as he raises the hand.
Ball towards the top of the box. Doesn't find its intended target, but Ospina's the first one there. Plays it back. Put back towards the top of the box, headed out of trouble by Allen.
Allen so terrific in the air on that back line, just with so many aerial duels. You see a ball in the air in your own 18, you think he's got a pretty good chance to go up and get it and clear the line.
Yeah, and he's one of those sort of modern-day fullbacks, right, that can play the back line but can also help create offense for your team. He has a couple of goals and an assist this season, but that's stalwart back on that back line, but can give you the offense as well. And you like those fullbacks that can give you a little bit of both when necessary.
Yeah, and you love those guys that back there. I mean, he's physical. Yeah, he's lanky, but he could put some arms into you. He could shield you. He could force you off the ball. We already saw that earlier back on his own byline. And then you got a corner kick, free kick opportunity. Send him in the box. Get one of the midfielders, the shorter guy, drop it back a little bit. You got a great guy to try to pick out at a cross.
Speaking of cross, that one, I think it's going to be kept in along the far sideline, knocked out of bounds by Juhas. This will be a throw-in for Incarnate Word. So it's down here in front of us, Shaquan Reed and Dasha Curiel almost connected on a really nice give and go, but good defense by the Cardinals to, again, turn that defense into offense. They get a throw-in now deep in Cougar territory. About 12 minutes in, no score. Here from Gwendolyn Brooks High School and on the south side of Chicago. Chicago State Cougars, Incarnate Word Cardinals. Ohio Valley men's soccer action.
Can't imagine the Cardinals were out here in the pregame warm-ups at least trying to get a feel for the lines. It's tough on the blue turf with the white lines. You got the yellow lines, obviously describing the soccer pitch, but on these near sides with the touch line, it can be a little tough. It can be a little confusing, so trying to get their legs and their minds right here early.
Yeah, I mean, they're probably fine with the weather, right?
Actually, this is probably a little cool, right?
Here's a through ball looking for Curiel, and Constant able to kick that out of harm's way, but Dasha Curiel again right in the center of things for the Cougars.
Curiel, it's everything is coming down this right channel right now as they are trying to work on Miles Merritt, who is one of the two freshmen out there on the other side for Incarnate Word.
And again, maybe that pressure on a freshman who might not be used to it as Cardinals are whistled down for an offsides. This high-pressure defense by Chicago State, maybe they're thinking they can crack the freshman in his first year of D1 play.
He kind of floats around. He's in a very far back defensive midfield role. He'll shift to the left side. He'll shift to the right as well. You kind of see him showcased in the speed box to box.
Yeah, both of these teams play sort of I would say an amoeba style defense. Chicago State lists 5 defensemen in their starting lineup, but a lot of those are defensemen / midfielders who are playing both sides of the field. Same thing with Incarnate Word. Here come the Cardinals down the far side. Time and space, a lot of space given to him by the Cougars here. A nice job by Chicago State to take that ball away, and here's Juhas.
Yeah, the senior, Paco Segura there, wearing the captain's armband, had a lot of time, a lot of space to operate, but maybe waited a little bit too long and couldn't pick out his man, waiting for the defense to get back and set their shape.
Chicago State now in midfield, and this is where the Cougars have struggled with their offense, is these set offensive plays where it takes them 8-10 passes to work the ball downfield. This is where they've struggled with their offense. Most of their offense this season has come off of turnovers or mistakes made by the opposition. So I would love to see them pick up a goal here, just working the ball around, trying to work it down each side, being patient with it, and then, again, trying to find one of those big targets in the box on a cross or a run-on or something like that.
And I'm sure with the start they had back on Thursday on the road, Coach House is probably pleased with the patience here, at least early on, trying to methodically probe and work their way down into the attacking side of the field. And happy certainly with the defense here after, in the opening stages, a great opportunity for the Cardinals to whip on the wayside. Nice diving save by Fontana right out of the gate. But since there, really no opportunities in front of goal for the visitors.
Yeah, each team with a really solid opportunity in the first couple of minutes of play there, as the Cougars essentially had a wide open net and they just weren't able to tuck it home. But a little bit more stalwart defensively here over the last 10 by Chicago State, as they will try to attack that left side of the field now, right back onto the foot of Allen.
You can see Allen kind of motioning Reed on this right-hand side to try to make a run and a foray up the ground, because he's got some space on this near side touchline. They just haven't really gone his way in a while, but that's a beautiful switch of play. Beautiful play over there to Juhas on the far side. Donut with the long left foot, and that will deflect wide of the far post. And
Be a first corner kick of the game for the Cougars.
Juhas, I mean, that looked like it was going to be a great curler right into a very dangerous spot in the center of the box, right across the face of goal, but redirected out. Corner kick, as you said, first so far for Chicago State today, and here's a chance to get those bodies forward. Colway Allen back now into the box as you see kind of Reed take a more defensive position towards the top of the circle at midfield.
This is where Allen has picked up his goals. That 6'4" frame headed backwards, comes out the other side and cleared out of harm's way, at least for the moment. And the shot from outside the box goes through the uprights, and that'll be a goal kick here for Incarnate Word.
Is Cairo Santos currently the field goal kicker for the Bears? Just up the road, a little bit north of here. Bears had a nice start today, it looked like, with the Broncos at top, but that was right through the uprights. Right, tough angle.
That's it. It's right from that outside the right hash mark.
And you can actually perfectly read just how far that field goal would have been, right? That was coming from about 17, 18 yards out.
Cardinals.
That's the positive of having the hash marks out here.
Yeah, it helps when you can say, the ball's 10 yards outside the box, 20 yards outside the box. You use it to your advantage for sure. Here come the Cardinals now, tapping it around midfield, playing it back. The Cardinals have been trying to work that far side of the field here most of this first half.
Yeah, you think they wouldn't mind a nice spell because the lion's share of the possession has certainly been on the Chicago State side here in the early stages.
Yeah, the Cougars have done a nice job possession-wise. There's a nice ball over to Juhas, just eludes him. But good idea by Chicago State. And you're right, Max. The possession really has favored the Cougars. Each team with one really good opportunity. A couple of corner kicks here for Incarnate Word, one for Chicago State. But I would say possession-wise, Cougars have to be pretty pleased with how this first 16 or 17 minutes have gone.
I would say absolutely. I mean, we haven't seen a goal. We haven't seen a quality shot on target so far from Chicago State, but they've had just, a couple of opportunities in the box where they just couldn't get that final touch, right? A couple of creative opportunities to work the ball in, though.
This is Navarrillo down the near side. Curiel close up on him.
That's two guys that are just low to the ground, low centers of gravity, quick, shifty guys that can turn on a dime.
I mean, again, you watch that Chicago State defense. They really don't give you any space at all to operate offensively. This is Rios. He's knocked down. Ball's taken away from him by Chicago State. The Cougars look to turn defense into offense. The through ball looking for Urunao. Urunao with some speed. He has the ball on his foot, one-on-one, takes it deep. Urunao with the shot, just wide. And that'll roll out, and that'll be a throw-in down there on the far side for Chicago State. But Arafat Urunao doing a nice job there, one-on-one.
Great showcase of strength on both ends right there from the Cougars, right? Reed on the defensive side, getting the ball poked free away from his man. Then they locate Urunao, who just bodied up his man to win the ball back, but I think he's got to pick his head up there a little bit early. He was at way too tough of an angle to try to beat the keeper constantly. He didn't have any support. If he can just hold that up a little bit longer and wait for the troops to rally.
You don't see a lot of these players, you don't see a lot of one-on-one battles, right? Where it's if I can get past this guy, it's me and the goalie. And sometimes those eyes get a little big. And I think that's what we saw from Arafat there is had an opportunity to beat his defender and walk in all alone. But you're right, maybe keep your head up and look for a trailer or look for somebody who has a bit better angle on goal. But again, some good possession by Chicago State, some good opportunities. Just gotta find that net.
Yeah, we're still kind of at the end of this, feeling each other out kind of phase of the game, trying to figure out each other's strengths and weaknesses. And certainly that right side has been where Chicago State has found their best footing. Probably the right side as well when it's in possession for Incarnate Word.
Cougars cross midfield. It's Flores. Juhas plays it back. Cougars very patient. And talk about Colway Allen. You really watch him directing traffic. Even when he doesn't have the ball, he's telling his teammates where to go. So having that field general on the back line is incredibly helpful. And here come the Cougars now. Ball through, across the end line, and I think we're going to have a goal kick here. A goal kick for Incarnate Word.
Yeah, but it's interesting, right? Because usually you're thinking about that guy in the pivot in the midfield that's really working the defense forward into offense, who's going to be kind of your facilitator, your point guard, kind of, if you will. But it really is Allen on that back line who is telling everybody where to go, slowing things down when they need to be slowed down, pulling the reins back, and then pressing when he needs to, and kind of just facilitating from all the way in the back. The guy who could see, obviously, the entire field at all times.
Yeah, and that's a great point. He can see the entirety of the midfield and the forward side for Chicago State, so he can direct these players. This is where you need to be based on what play we're trying to run or based on where the defense is with the ball or without the ball. He's able to direct that traffic, and that's huge for a fairly young Chicago State team, having a leader like the senior Cal Wayne Allen back there, kind of telling everybody where they should be, having that second coach on the field, if you will. This is Navarrillo. Reed knocks it away. And Allen just bangs it out of trouble onto the foot of Udu now.
But even when it looks a little chaotic, like he's just clearing the back line, even though he has a little bit of time, that's a beautiful ball forward, able to find Ura now, who's able to hold it up, draw a foul, and obviously now you get the bodies forward, you kind of shift from defense to attack.
Right, you take your time, move everybody forward. Looks like Jai Shepard, 5'6" junior, will be the first substitution here for the Cougars. Standing at midfield, waiting to check in.
I'm curious as to exactly what kind of this early move is and what Norris Howes is seeing and trying to change here tactically. Because Chicago State has probably looked the better of the two sides, I would say, here in the early going. Neither side really pressing forward on the front foot all that much at this point.
Ball out of bounds. I'm going to say that was off of Udu now. Looked like that was off of Incarnate Word, but it looks like it'll be a throw in here for the Cardinals. Down to 23 and a half left to go here in a scoreless first half. And we've talked about the Cougars, neither team really playing with a lead. I think if you're Chicago State, even if you can go into this half tied, I think you got to feel pretty good about it given the way these second halves go for Chicago State, the way their offense sort of picks up in the second half. You have to feel pretty good if you can go into this half either with the lead or tied given the pressure you put on.
Absolutely, and Segura's had a bulk of the ball here. That's a dangerous cross in.
Punched away nicely by Fontana, but that stays in a danger area. Just as we're talking about Chicago State, hopefully going into half with the lead or tied here, and Incarnate Word with their best pressure of the afternoon. A couple of great chances. Lucas Fontana colliding with a Cardinal there in the 6, and it's another corner kick for the Cardinals.
That was Rios that they were able to pick out on the back post, who is not the largest target out there. He's actually the smallest
target
out there on the pitch at just 5'4", but it worked its way all the way to him. He was open, but I think Reed kind of blocked his line of vision there with the leap right in front of him.
We're going to take a hydration break, which is not something we would do in October. We have 22 minutes and 45 seconds left to go here in the first half of a scoreless OVC matchup between the Chicago State Cougars and the Incarnate Word Cardinals. We'll be back with more Chicago State action right after this. .22 minutes, 45 seconds left to go here in the first half. Chicago State looking for their first conference victory, looking for their third victory, and my partner Max Toma, that third victory would be a program high for the Chicago State Cougars men's soccer program, only in their technically their fourth season, but really third and a half, I would say.
Yeah, and a win today would be pretty historic for both sides, right, as they both try to navigate the new Ohio Valley Conference men's soccer conference as well, both looking for their first win in league play. But you mentioned it would be a historic win for them. On the other side, for the Cardinals, a win today would be their third of the year as well, and that would be already an improvement from last year when they went 2-13-1 as an independent team, and they played almost all of their games on the road. So nice for them to be back in a conference and playing some games at home.
Yeah, Cougars, same way. Only played a handful of home games last season, so it's nice to know that they're going to get the same number of home games this year as road games. So we'll get to see a little more Chicago State soccer. This men's program started in 2020. I mean, what a season to start, right? Only ended up playing 3 games in that 2020-2021 season. 6-34-7 all time, but starting to attract some talent, starting to attract sort of some of those players that you can build around, and hopefully brighter things to come here for Chicago State as a member of the OVC. We're back underway, and that'll be a foul called on Dasha Curiel. So a chance here for Incarnate Word on a set play about 20 yards outside the box. We'll probably see most of those black and red jerseys line up along the far side of the box and then crash towards the net.
And it looks like we're there in almost a de facto line change here for the Cougars. Going to have at least 3 subs coming on. Looks like maybe 4.
Here's the ball, low line drive into the box, and that rolls into Fontana. Lucas 2-5-1 on the season as the starting goalie for Chicago State. 3.05 goals against. Saves about 56% of the shots put in, and he's faced a lot of shots so far this season, and those numbers are a little bit lofty. But again, the Chicago State team tends to get outplayed in the first half, but some good numbers so far here. Nothing allowed in the first 20 or so minutes. And you talked about line changes. We'll see if we can get all the numbers. It looks like Danny Sergeyev checking in, Ilari Odiambo checking in, Jaye Shepard, and Ian Topete all checking in for Chicago State. So almost a full line change, 4 new bodies out there. And Cougars now with their leading goal scorer, the 6'5" junior Danny Sergeyev out of Glenview out there for the Cougars. And it's just another big target when the Cougars can get those set plays. You've now got the 6'5" Sergeyev, the 6'4" Juhas, the 6'4" Cal Wayne Allen, and then another 6'4" player we haven't seen yet who will get some playing time, Joshua Sinicero. So a lot of big targets out there for Chicago State if they can get some of those set plays down in the offensive zone.
Yeah, Danny Sergeyev, local product, like you said, Glenbrook South High School, GBS, just a little bit north of downtown Chicago. A guy who's usually in the starting lineup. He's played every game but one. He started 6 of his 8 appearances. So for your leading goal scorer coming off the bench, what does he look like today on a hot day? He's coming in after the hydration break. And the leading scorer on the other side for the Cardinals is a guy who's almost always coming off the bench, and Armendariz, who's got 3 goals as well, and he'll be coming in off the bench today as well.
Yeah, the freshman with 3 goals leading the way for the Cardinals. And I like Sergeyev coming in off the bench against maybe a little bit more tired. You know, we're only 20, 25 minutes into the game, but a fully rested 6'5" Sergeyev against an Incarnate Ward team that's already been out there for 20 or 25 minutes in this speed. Odiambo, the pass behind Topete. And you can see there's the pressure again as Sergeyev bearing down on Constant and forces Hugo to play that ball out. And Chicago State, again, looking to turn that defense into offense, looking to make the Cardinals make mistakes.
Miles Merritt's been really impressive early on here in this defensive midfield. He's been intercepting passes. He just had a great couple of touches, slotted it back to the keeper Constant, just intercepted another ball and wins his team a near side throw-in. That's one of the freshmen out there who's been out there. He started all 10.
Yeah, you talked about some of this freshman talent on both sides. Now here comes Rios down the near side with Allen, and Cal Wayne not only knocks the ball away from him, but is able to knock it out the sideline. So it'll be a throw-in from the corner rather than a corner kick.
That was just a difference in stride lengths on full display.
Dangerous cross headed high up into the air. Cougars able to work it out of trouble and just bang it back to midfield. Sergeyev will give chase. Incarnate Word knocks it forward. Cougars take it back. Played into the middle. Over to the near side now. That's Reed. Reed taps it forward. Ilari Odiambo now on the right foot. Odiambo plays it down to Reed on the near side. Reed rolls it forward, looking for Odiambo. The cross! And that comes through, and it's cleared out. Another opportunity for the Cougars, just not able to get that foot on it to tap it home, but that was another open net. And here comes Incarnate Word, defense into offense, a 4-on-3 breakout. And the pass a little too far ahead as Lucas Fontana aggressively comes out and plays that ball.
Now we're starting to see this thing really open up, and what a beautiful combination of the best so far we've seen from either side with Odiambo and Reed on this near side.
Here's another chance. The cross, and that was Sergeyev right in the box, but knocked away from him. Cougars will maintain possession, though, and you're right. This game has opened up over the last couple of minutes. Chicago State, though, with the better of the opportunities here, as we're down to 17 and a half left to go here in the first half. There's Cal Wayne Allen with it, playing it over to Shaquan Reed down here on the near side.
Yeah, somehow still technically no shot attempts for Chicago State, though they have been very close many times.
Odiambo puts it into the box, and that's what you're looking for there. Those crosses, looking for the 6'5" target, and they had to double team Sergeyev to keep that ball away from them as the Cardinals do take possession back. But like what I'm seeing from Chicago State offensively and really defensively, they've given up a couple of opportunities to the Cardinals, but they're playing some good ball on both sides right now.
Yeah, these are two teams that generally play at high-scoring affairs coming into today. Incarnate Words, their games are averaging a little bit over 3 goals. Chicago State's are averaging over 4, and we are still deadlocked. And I'm sure if you ask both these coaches pregame, hey, at halftime we're 0-0, they might be pretty pleased.
Here comes Danny Sergeyev. Sergeyev in, and the save is made by Constant. Sergeyev walked in all alone and blasted that ball off of Constant.
Oh, I'm going to be pretty shocked if that's not going to draw a caution, because that is a frustration foul in its fullest. Just shoved the defender in the back and then just booted the ball well out of play.
Yeah,
and maybe just to start talking to it, which is shocking, because that's a yellow card, I think, just textbook in every way, shape, and form.
Yeah, Danny Sergeyev does show his emotions out there on the field. That's a common occurrence, and you can see hands over his face right now, yelling at himself. He will never have a better opportunity than that. He walked in all alone on Hugo Constant, but Constant showed why he's one of the best goalkeepers in this conference, stoning the Cougars' leading scorer here and the best opportunity of the match for either team.
And that was just a tremendous example of shooting off your line. He got off his line so fast it made it a lot harder on Sergeyev to try to have any kind of angle, even though he was centralized in the middle of the park.
Incarnate Word now walks down the near side on the left foot. That's Elizadeh. Again, Chicago State pressure defense. Cleared out of harm's way. 16 minutes left to go. Chicago State just coming off of their best opportunity of the match. Danny Sergeyev one on the goalie. And the goalie, Hugo Constant, able to get the better of Danny in that instance.
You know, not only for Chicago State would it be first win in OVC play, it would technically be their first ever conference victory as well. Like you said, program that has really not been around much at all, but that would be something to build off of, no doubt, early in the year.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, you know, teams in their 4th season, they're in their 2nd conference. As the ball comes into Fontana, Lucas makes the save. So every win is important. Every win is resume building. And we have the replay here of Sergeyev's shot. See Chicago State just taking it away. Danny walking in all alone on that right foot, and you talked about it, Hugo Constant charging off of his line to cut down that angle from Sergeyev and keeping this 0-0. Defense into offense the other direction. Here comes Rios. As Incarnate Word, they've been attacking that right side most of the match. Again here, the cross off of Juhas, and that'll be a corner kick for Incarnate Word.
I think they've learned as this game has progressed, as this first half has gone along, that Segura might have a little bit of an advantage in terms of the speed to be able to get by Juhas on that right side. Doesn't have the height probably to go win an aerial duel with him, but he can dribble it by him or run past him on a through ball.
Yep, shorter and faster, so you're not going to win those high one-on-one balls, but you know, maybe a long running line drive that you can run onto, or we'll see what happens here on the corner kick that bends in. That's headed out of harm's way.
Great delivery again by Izaldi, who's really had 3 high-quality corners here early on.
Merritt plays it backwards. Gets it back right here in front of us. Right foot out into the center. So Spina over to the far side. And again, Incarnate Word attacking that right side. The big left-footed boot goes wide of the near post. That'll be a goal kick. Chicago State coming in 2-6-1 on the season. So they're looking for a few firsts, right? They're looking for their 3rd victory, which would be a program record. They're looking for their first conference victory. They're looking for their first home victory of the season. So a lot of things on the line for Chicago State here today as Enrique Zamora, the 5'5 junior from Yuma, Arizona, makes his first appearance for the Cougars. So a lot of substitutions here in the first half, and I think this is Norris House still trying to piece together what his best 10 is out there. He's got a lot of players that are interchangeable, which is why I think you see some players, maybe starting half the games and coming off the bench the other games. He's got a lot of players who bring similar skill sets and can do similar things. And here's another chance for the Cougars down the near side. The centering feed in. The shot and another gorgeous save made by Constant. That was off the foot of Ilari Odiambo, the sophomore from Kenya. Got all of the left foot on that one.
Boy, Shepard, he had a targeted Sergiev to the near post. He elected to go right towards the penalty spot, though. He found Odiambo. He's got the whole goal to work with. Beautiful save, but right at the keeper, Constant.
But that's 2 now. In the last couple of minutes, Chicago State 1-0 with the goal keep, and eventually you got to feel like they're going to break through. And got a corner kick here as Juhas will take it on the near side. He'll bend that in and see if Chicago State can take advantage of that height. The ball in, headed out of there. Jai Shepard misses on the shot attempt, gets it back though. Left foot into the box. It's Calwayne Allen playing it back. Shepard top of the box. It's Need out of trouble. Cougars on the attack here though. That pass eludes Odiambo. That'll cross the end line for a goal kick.
They really had him pinned in, it felt like, for the first time, where the chances were just coming in droves, and they just could not clear the lines, only going as far as about, we'll say, the 30 or 40-yard line.
Yeah.
They had him pinned in, but, hey, we're still goalless, and a couple of crucial parries on saves from Hugo Constant.
Would have liked to have, really, that's been controlled by Chicago State. Ball through. Here comes Odiambo. Odiambo down the near side now. He centers it, and he got it a little too deep there, and the centering feed puts it behind the net.
Odiambo has just been a very pleasant sight for this home side at Coach Norris House. Since he checked in off the bench, that was chested down tremendously over to Sergiev in a more centralized area, allowed him to race and make a run up this right side, but was kind of falling away and off balance when he tried to get that cross away, let it travel a little bit too deep to the byline.
Yeah, he got a little too deep, and as you said, his body was carrying him. His momentum was carrying him out of bounds, so the ball went that way and went behind the net. And the Cougars steal it right back, but bad pass that allows the Cardinals to take possession. But again, you see the Chicago State defense just pressure. They generally don't let the opposition stand there with the ball and decide what to do. And Fontana comes out, the ball's rolled as it gets past Fontana. And Lucas really aggressive on that play, and fortunate that didn't end up in the back of the net.
And that's what I had just talked about, that advantage with the speed between Juhas and Segura. Segura is consistently getting in behind the big man on that left side of the Chicago defense. And Segura, I mean, that was a bold challenge to come all the way out there off your line and outside the 18 from Fontana. Open shot on an open net, but could not connect off the near side netting.
Yeah, rolled it wide of that far side. So Willie Aguiar and Edu Perez checking in for the Cardinals, number 7, number 10, respectively. Under 9.5 left to go. A lot of substitutions here in the first half. Cardinals have possession, have Chicago State pinned a little bit. They had a great opportunity just a minute ago. Top of the box. 3 gray jerseys there, though, and Juhas able to take it away.
Now, Edu Perez was subbed on last time out. He got a goal. 2 of their 3 goals came from guys who were not in the starting 11.
Cougars now immediately turning that defense into offense. There's Sergiev down on the far side with it. Sergiev rolls it into the middle of the box, knocked away, but the Cougars take it right back. Played over to the far side. Chicago State walking into the box. Right foot knocked away. And Incarnate Word forced to just club it out of there.
Yeah, since Jai Shepard checked in, the junior from Roxborough in Tobago, they've been going more maybe to the left side than the right side has Chicago State, but they've looked dangerous now on both ends.
Yeah, both with Shepard on the far side and Ilari Odiambo here on the near side. They've been kind of equal opportunity attacking here in the first half, but this has probably been the best offensive showing I've seen from the Cougars here in the first half of a game this season. They don't have anything to show for it in terms of something on the scoreboard, but in terms of opportunities, in terms of pressure, in terms of possession, this is as good as they've looked this season in the first half.
And they're still clinging to just one goal in first half action so far this year, but I think on paper you were expecting this to be a pretty high-scoring tilt, and that has not been the case at all.
Not been the case. The Cougars have given up a handful of opportunities. Lucas Fontana's looked very, very sharp in goal. Maybe a little too aggressive on that last opportunity for Incarnate Word, but you would rather your goalie be too aggressive than not aggressive enough. You got other players who can help you back there if you get beat.
Yeah, give credit to the keepers here today. We got a couple of saves from Constant, a couple of saves on the other side for Fontana. They've both been very solid.
Sergiev plays it on the right foot, rolled forward. There's Shepard trying to chase it down, and he's able to. Played into Juhas. Juhas walks into the box, stops on a dime, the right foot back to the top of the box, rolled in the middle, and the return pass. I'd like to have seen a shot there from, I believe that was Ian Topete, standing, I don't know, a couple of yards outside the 6. He had some space, turn on that right foot and shoot it. Tried the little give and go, and it was taken away by the Cardinals.
Yeah, had an opportunity right at the top of the box, just on the left side after a beautiful four-way forward there for Juhas down that left-hand side.
Cardinals now down that far side again as we're down to about 6.5 left to go here in half number 1. Played in the middle. This is Ospina, the long right foot. That's high and wide of the net by a good 20 or 30 yards.
Yeah, if you're Chicago State, you'll let Ospina or anybody attempt a shot out there from 25 yards.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Chicago State taking their time. Fontana rolls it over to Calwayne Allen. Allen with the left foot in the middle. Long right foot looking for Shepard. That speed of Jai Shepard trying to take advantage of that. Good defense here by Odiambo. He gets the ball on the return. Ilari Odiambo coming in on the right foot. He's bumped off the ball, and that's going to be a foul called on Odiambo as both players going for the ball. But Ilari Odiambo, you mentioned it a couple of minutes ago, since he's checked in, has been sort of a whirlwind down here on this right side for Chicago State.
Yeah, he has just been causing havoc on this side of the pitch. He's been sprinting forward, getting into that box seemingly at will, but that time shoved down Navarrijo, who was just doing a tremendous job, able to cut him off in the box.
Yeah. We have an injured Chicago State player over on the far side of the field, so we'll have a stoppage of play here with 5:15 left. It's been a fun first half. Nothing on the scoreboard yet. Neither team able to break through, but both teams have had some really good opportunities. And, you know, if you're Chicago State, you're in conference play for the first time in a couple of seasons against kind of comparable talent. And, you know, it's kind of now's the time to see how you sort of match up. And so far, so good if you're Norris Howes and the Chicago State Cougars.
Yeah, this is the first ever home game at OVC action for them, and they have looked the part. I mean, this is a team in Incarnate Word who was picked to be 5th preseason in the Ohio Valley Conference. Chicago State was picked to be 8th, and it's always tough to be a prognosticator when you're looking at new soccer teams and college soccer, trying to figure out who's going to do what, especially with, you know, a new conference and 4 new teams entering the fray here. But that was the expectation coming into the year, and I think Chicago State has performed very admirably today. This is a game kind of hanging on the edge right now. It could certainly go either way. You wouldn't be surprised if either team cracked open the seal in the scoring, but it is a little surprising. I think that the Cardinals have outshot, actually, on paper, the Cougars 6-2. They have twice as many corners as well. They've had some chances in some advanced positions, but I think Chicago State is going to be displeased offensively with a couple of half chances in the box just in front of goal.
Right, Chicago State could easily be looking up at the scoreboard and being up 2-0 here if their forwards had had an extra split second. You talk about the OVC standings. Season standings are just underway. The conference play is just underway. Eastern Illinois, Southern Illinois, and Liberty all start off their OVC play 1-0. Houston Christian and these Cardinals tied their first time out, and then Lindenwood, Chicago State, Southern Indiana all lost their first OVC matchups. So, yeah, it's hard to pick a conference that has never existed before because you don't know what those matches are going to look like.
Wouldn't want that job.
Would you? Right. So, Chicago State looking to pick up. Well, both teams looking to pick up their first victory in OVC play, as we've mentioned. So, very solid first half by both teams. Chicago State, I would say, has had the better of the opportunities and the better of the play, even if the shot stats don't really bear that out. Here's a chance now, and the save is made by Fontana.
Yeah, but certainly SIU Edwardsville, I think what they have done in the early going this season, They played 8 games. They've won 6 of them. They have yet to lose a match so far this year. They were ranked in the top 25 at one point this season as well. That's going to be a team to watch out for. And obviously, if you're a Chicago State fan and you watched on Thursday, Liberty, boy, that's going to be a dangerous team here in the fall.
Yeah, and if you want to see Liberty, you won't have to wait very long, as the Cougars' next matchup right here on Thursday night, 7 p.m. will be against that Liberty team. So the Cougars aren't going to waste much time in getting their home and home with Liberty out of the way. An opportunity to maybe extract a little bit of a revenge for that 7-0 loss. Here's Shepard now down the far side with Ajayi. Stops there on the right foot. Rolls it in the middle to Sergiev. Danny has it. Tries to dribble through traffic. Gets it over to Shepard. Shepard plays it back. Juhas now. Juhas rolls it through. Nice ball to Shepard. Jaye in. And the save is made. I think that was an attempted pass by Shepard. But Hugo Constant showing why he's one of the best.
Got to look up a little bit earlier. Topete was wide open, made a nice run towards the near post, about 8 yards out. He was going to be in a great position to have a one-time shot on goal.
Yeah, and you have to wonder if maybe Chicago State, who's had some success in just their regular offensive sets, they haven't turned Incarnate Word over defense into offense, turnover type offense, but this from your defense to your midfield to your forward line, they've had some success, and that's not something they've had a lot of success with this year. So they haven't had a lot of practice in game in these types of situations. So that may have something to do with the lack of finish here in these offensive possessions for Chicago State. They're usually more of a reactionary team because of how their defense works. Nice move there by Allen to get away from the defense.
Dangerous one. Yeah, I think stylistically, I think schematically, it hasn't looked like the Chicago State we've seen the first 9 games so far here this fall. But they got to be pleased with the effort here so far. And they always got to be pleased when they go in at halftime and have not conceded, especially after what we saw with them defensively on Thursday.
Yeah, I think
I don't think anybody's going to be too mad if the halftime whistle blows and it's 0-0.
No, I think you'll here's a high ball in to Sergiev that's knocked away. And I think if you talk to any D1 coach, ball stolen away and the shot lofted over the top of the net. And I think if you ask any D1 coach or any college coach in any sport, if you ask him if he's paying more attention to the defense or the offense, he's probably telling you the defense. So Norris Howes will be pleased if these next 2 minutes pass without a goal finding its way behind a Lucas Fontana, as the Chicago State Cougars team is a second-half team. So you have to be cautiously optimistic that maybe the second half will favor the Cougars if they can get through the next 120 seconds here, 90 seconds now, without giving up a goal. But late opportunity for the Cardinals. Down low, the cross headed over the net. Just as we say that, the Cardinals come down. Get a chance.
Great look for Merritt, who does not get a ton of them that close, just outside the 6. That was about 7, maybe 8 yards out, right in the centralized area. Just hit it over the crossbar, always rising with the header. Could not get on top of it, but that was coming right in the shadow here of halftime.
Miles Merritt, 1 goal, 3 assists in his freshman campaign. We're under a minute left to go here in the first half. And if you're the Cougars, be very, very cautious and patient with the ball here. You don't want to turn it over late. Try to move the ball forward with some intention, but nothing risky. You certainly don't want to give up a goal on a turnover here down the stretch. Tipped forward, there's Shepard. Shepard rolls it over to Juhas on the far side. Donat stops, gives it over to Sergiev. Danny up top. Cougars roll it over to the near side to Odiambo. 23 seconds. Odiambo, the cross, headed up into the air. And Incarnate Word will come the other direction in the final 15. They are going to get a chance here. 3-on-3. That ball's rolled down the near side. That'll elude the intended target. That'll roll out of bounds. And that will likely do it here for the first half. 2-1, and we are at halftime here in the first ever home OVC conference game for the Chicago State Cougars. And Max, finished 0-0. You said it just a couple minutes ago. I think the Cougars have to be really pleased with the way this first half went.
Yeah, I think both teams are probably pretty pleased. They probably both thought they could have had a goal or maybe more in this first half, but given that neither side is going to enter this halftime break trailing right now, given what we've seen on the field, very evenly played contest. Hanging in the balance, could go either way. I think come the second half, I'm expecting multiple goals, and we're going to find out just who's ready to get their first win here in OVC action.
That we will. Max and I will be back with the second 45 here in just a little bit. You are watching Chicago State Soccer on the Chicago State Athletics YouTube page. We'll be back with second half action here in just a little bit. under a crystal blue sky here on the south side of Chicago. My partner Max Thoma, myself, Aaron Shellen. No score here on the Smurf Turf at Gwendolyn Brooks College Prep between the Chicago State Cougars and the Incarnate Word Cardinals. And Max, that was a really entertaining scoreless first half.
Yeah, both teams with 3 shots on target. The Cardinals outshot Chicago State 8-4. How about the back and forth and just a very fluid affair? I like that the referee here today has kind of let the boys play out there. We've only had 4 fouls called total in those first 45 minutes, which I love. I think the neutral fan or fans of either side probably enjoyed as well because it makes the game more fluid, more entertaining, more back and forth. And it's 0-0 right now. I'm telling you, I'm not sure one goal is going to win it. I think we're going to see a slew of them find the back of the net here in the last 45.
Yeah, both teams with some just point-blank opportunities in the first half. Lucas Fontana and Hugo Constant doing yeoman's work in each of their nets, keeping the ball out of their own goal. We got a couple of scores for you around the OVC. So Liberty, team that defeated Chicago State 7-1 earlier this week, 3-1 victory over Houston Christian. I guess that game's in the final minute there. 3-1 Liberty lead.
That's 10 goals this week for Liberty.
That's a high-powered offense. We'll see them on Thursday night here at Chicago State. Lindenwood with a 1-0 lead over Southern Illinois at the half, and Southern and Eastern Illinois are scoreless at half. So we're underway here in half number 2 between the Cougars and the Cardinals. Cougars will start with possession. They're now going right to left on your TV screen. And we'll see if there's a bit of a feeling out period like we saw in that first half. A lot of play in the midfield, a couple of opportunities right when the game got started, but that first 10 or 15 minutes of the first half was kind of between the 30s, if you will, right? If we're looking at the yard markers out there on the field. But really that last 15 or 20 minutes, it was full blast both directions. So we'll see if we get more of that or if both teams come out a little bit more hesitant here in the second half.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to know exactly how the sums go here down the stretch, because I thought group number 2, after those initial 4 sums from Chicago State, was kind of better than the starting group, which was out there for, I think, just a little bit over 15 minutes.
And some of those players still out there. Ilari Odiambo out there for the start of the second half. He came in as a sub midway through the first half and really impressed both of us, Max, with his play, setting up the Chicago State offense late in the second half.
Yeah, interesting that Reed is the one out there on the other side. Odiambo is actually on the left side. It's technically the same side, but going the other direction, so he's more in a left spot than a right spot here in this second half, at least to start.
Maybe he just feels more comfortable next to the bench. Who knows?
Likes that short walk.
Yes.
The water's right there.
Don't blame him. That's right. Cougars with the ball here, try to roll it through, looking for Arafat Udu. And again, just that pressure immediately by Chicago State, not really giving Incarnate Word an opportunity to kind of look up. And this is how they play defense. They force you to sort of know where your teammates are going to be and make those perfect passes without being able to take much time. And more often than not, that can lead to mistakes by the opposition. But we'll see Incarnate Word's able to play a sharp second half here as that ball's rolled through and back to Fontana in net. Lucas Fontana making 3 saves in that first half, facing 8 shots.
We only saw 4 fouls. We only saw 1 offside whistle. It's been entertaining, even given the scoreline.
Yeah, entertaining, and you talked about kind of the pace of play. And Chicago State typically plays a very physical game, which can lead to a lot of fouls, a lot of stoppages, and that can make the game feel a little clunky. And this first half didn't feel like that at all. We've seen some really entertaining back-and-forth action by both teams, and it's been clean. It's been fun.
Yeah, for perspective, Chicago State had 3 fouls in the first 45 minutes. They had 119 fouls in their first 9 games.
Yep, they are a very physical team. But today they've kind of showed some of that offensive spark that they haven't really shown in the first half of a lot of games. Still didn't pick up that second first half goal of the year, but I mean, they had a couple of opportunities. You really could be looking at this thing being 2-0 Chicago State if they had been able to finish. As Juhas tips that out of bounds, it'll be a throw-in down deep for the Cardinals.
Good ball, long, high, over the top from Anthony Vargas, a senior from Costa Rica.
Cleared out of harm's way by Chicago State. And that should be a foul. No, nothing called there. They're saying that was a clean ball. Is knocked down from behind was Florian Wador. Incarnate Word top of the box, and good slide tackle by Chicago State. Incarnate Word gets the shot, but right into the waiting arms of Lucas Fontana. Bit of a surprise. There wasn't a foul call, but they said he got ball first, I guess.
Yeah, there's our first look at a shot for either side. Ospina is able to send one on target, but it's not going to get much easier. That's a much easier first save of the second half for Fontana than it was of the first half.
Yeah, that first half save he made, the first shot of the game was a diving attempt to his left. This one a whole lot easier. That's the one you're hoping for is your first shot. Second half just underway. Incarnate Word with the better of the play here in the first couple of minutes. In the box now. Juhas knocks it out of trouble for the moment. Incarnate Word has it, and now Juhas on his right foot, taps it forward with the left foot. Long ball looking for, it's Dasha Curiel, and that'll elude the freshman, go out of bounds for a throw-in, but nothing else. Sort of relieves that pressure a little bit that Chicago State had been under.
Yeah, great interjection there from Juhas, who was able to intercept the ball in a very advanced position as it looked like is it Colwayne Allen that took the brunt. There was a heavy amount of traffic and a little scrum just out in front of the Chicago State 18, and Fontana's out to check on him, same with the head referee. You're hoping this is maybe just a cramp, as it looks like he's trying to stretch out that left leg.
Yeah, Colwayne Allen, critically important to this Chicago State team, both offensively and defensively. He looks all right. A quick stoppage of the clock here with just over 40 left to go. There'll be a throw in here for Incarnate Word Cardinals. Both teams looking for their first conference victory of the season. The Cardinals come in 2-4-3 on the season. They had a 3-3 draw their last time out against Houston Christian. And that's well offsides. I think you could have called that on either Cardinal player. Cougars 2-6-1 on the season. They've lost 5 in a row. 0-1 in the conference. Looking for their first conference victory of the year, their first home victory of the year, and a program high third victory of the season if they can manage to finish this one on top.
Yeah, started the year 2-1, like you noted right at the top of the broadcast, and both those wins coming at 3-2 finals.
Juhas walking in, leaves it, tipped over to the far side to Curiel. Curiel with some space over there. Dasha comes back towards the middle. The left-footed center, Urdo now comes out the other side. That is Odiyambo in the box. Curiel, and it's cleared out of the way. I don't think that ever made it in on Constant, but good pressure by Chicago State on that possession.
Yeah, that one's starting to open up a little bit after both teams coming out of the second half break. I think a little bit cautious.
A game opening up a little bit faster here in the second half than it did in the first half. Another offsides on Incarnate Word. Yeah, it took about 10 minutes for the game to open up there in the first half here. It took about 5 in the second half for the two teams to kind of open things up offensively.
Back-to-back offside here. That one was whistled on Willie Aguiar.
Incarnate Word trying to stretch the field a little bit, maybe try to go a little more over the top.
Aguiar's one of those local products, senior who's from San Antonio, Texas.
Incarnate Word home to the Admiral. David Robinson got his start as a Cardinal before he went to the Navy, and I never realized he went to Incarnate Word in San Antonio and ended up playing his entire career in San Antonio. Here's now down in the box. The shot comes out the other side. That one looked like it may have been ticketed for that near corner. Comes out the other side for a throw-in here for Incarnate Word. And we have another Chicago State player down. That's hard to tell from this far away. I think that might be...
I think that was Reed all the way over there.
Holding that right leg. Looks like it might be a cramp issue. But David Robinson. Incarnate Word in San Antonio. Played for the Spurs, obviously. One of the greatest centers in NBA history.
Yeah, didn't know his college past. I actually didn't know the Navy element either, but I think we all know that he was playing in San Antonio with the Spurs.
Yeah, that's why he was called the Admiral, because he went to Navy.
There you go.
Yes.
Nice and clean and easy. I'm not.
Yeah. That's Shaquan Reed down over there. Still holding that right leg, and looks like we're going to have a substitution here as Efrain Rivas, the sophomore from Rockford, will check in.
There's a good amount of Rockford flair to this Chicago State roster.
Yeah, and I think you'll start to see the Cougars. I mean, one of the advantages that this team has, that this college has, is they're in Chicago, right? They're in one of the greatest cities in the world, and eventually they'll start to recruit this Chicago talent, and when they're able to do that, you'll start to see a team that has a lot of success at pretty much every sport. Udu now eludes a couple of defenders, gets it over to Odhiambo, and Odi gets away from Ilari Odhiambo, and Incarnate Word will come the other direction. Yeah, recruiting Chicago talent is so important to this Cougars program, not just their soccer team, but all their organizations. So many schools, so much athletic talent here in this city, and here comes Incarnate Word now. Chicago State does a nice job getting back defensively, but the Cardinals top of the box. Walking down in deep, the shot in, and that was deflected. No, that deflects into the back of the net. I thought Fontana got a piece of that. He may have, but it still ends up in the back of the goal, and Incarnate Word breaks through first. Under 37 minutes left. They take a 1-0 lead.
You all think that might have been redirected on the way through as it found the back of the net, but we knew that goals were coming today. It didn't take too long here in the second half to finally break the seal.
So the Cougars will be battling from behind again with 36:53 left, and yeah, I think Fontana may have gotten a piece of that as it came through, but didn't get enough of it, Max, and Cardinals take a 1-0 lead, so you're right. This wasn't going to end scoreless, and now the Cougars are going to have to battle from behind here in the second half.
We saw Chicago State the last time they took the pitch on Thursday at Liberty. They were down 3-0 at half. They came out the better of the two in that opening 10 minutes, maybe even 15 minutes of the second half. They got the first goal of the second half, but then the rout was on for Liberty. Today, we're used to a side that's come out looking very much stronger in the second half, but good defensive first half. Early struggle here with a bad moment on the defensive side with the lapse.
Yeah, and if you're the Cougars, what you don't want to do is get down. You played a really sharp first half, had two or three really golden opportunities that you just weren't able to finish. You need to keep playing to that level, keep pushing the way you were in the first half, and see a bit of miscommunication there between Eduardo Flores and Ilari Odhiambo, and Flores has some words for the sophomore as he was expecting, I think, Ilari to continue down the field as Flores put that across the end line for a goal kick here for Incarnate Word.
This is where you got to stay composed. You can't let the frustration get the best of you because you can't afford for that second goal to put you down 2-0. You got to come back here and pull level, get the equalizer. There's a foul right in the middle of the field.
So the goal is going to be credited to number 17, Dylan Navarijo. That'll be his first goal of the season. The junior out of New Braunfels, Texas, picks up his first goal of the year, gives his team a 1-0 lead. And again, Fontana, I thought he deflected it wide. I saw it deflect off his hands, and I thought it went wide of the near post or far post, but went under him instead, into the back of the net. So Cougars battling from behind. Ball rolled through by Curiel, and you saw Dasha kind of throw his hands up there as that pass didn't find its intended targets. You talk about that frustration. We're seeing a little bit of it here from the Cougars on their last couple of offensive possessions with passes not going the way that they want. So just need to stay composed and continue to play like they have really for the first 55 minutes of this match. They've played a really good game so far. You don't want to let it get away from you here.
Tons of time left as well. There's 35 minutes, just a little bit under that. 1-0 game. The way these two teams have both been flying, you're certainly expecting more goals to follow.
You just hope that next goal is for the gray and green. Taken away by Odhiambo, and there's a foul called. That'll go on Willie Aguilar, number 7. Ilari Odhiambo has been really impressive here this afternoon for Chicago State.
Looks like we're going to see a couple of subs coming on for the home team, a couple of ones that you probably could have guessed at home. Jaye Shepard as well as Danny Sergio, and these two guys were very menacing going forward when Chicago State was looking their best in that first half.
And there's a shot from well outside the box by Odo, now handled easily by Constant. But yeah, you're right. Number 9, Jaye Shepard, and number 33, Danny Sergiev. Those are two of their big offensive weapons, and get them a bit of a breather as you give them the 15-minute halftime break, and then the first 10 to 12 minutes here in the second half, and hopefully they can give you some offense. But Incarnate Word now walking in, the centering feed, and that one's buried. Beautiful feed, and there's that 2-0 lead, and that was the freshman, Peleg Armendariz, picks up his 4th goal of the season, and it's 2-0 Cardinals.
Yeah, Armendariz, like you said, his 4th goal. He's appeared in every game so far that Incarnate Word the Cardinals have played this year, just his freshman campaign. But it's all about the build-up. They made it about as easy as possible for him, teed it up for him on a platter right in front of the Chicago State net, and it is a doubling of the lead at 2-0.
Yeah, that was a gorgeous feed. That was good patience by Incarnate Word to create the space for Armendariz. And you can see here down that far side, just takes it down in deep, just drops it back, and running onto it is Armendariz, and he had a wide open goal to aim at, and he didn't miss. That's his 4th goal of the season, and the Cougars find themselves quickly down here 2-0 in the second half after a first half that really, and in all reality, should have seen them up 2-0 with the opportunities they had. But again, still plenty of time to get a couple of goals. You don't want this to get away from you and have it be a 3-0, 4-0 match before you look up. So if you're Chicago State, keep battling. Here's Curiel down low, knocked away from him. Incarnate Word now up to midfield with it. And you can see the Chicago State defense not putting as much pressure on Incarnate Word here in the second half, and it's giving the Cardinals some time and space. Here they come right down the other direction again. That's Perez.
I think he just got clipped and taken down, so this is going to be a very dangerous set-piece opportunity. We haven't mentioned it in a long time. Chicago State, when we came out of the break here talking at the beginning of the game, talking about their size advantage, something they could pay to their advantage and to their dividends. But we'll see on a set-piece opportunity if this lack of height, if the Cardinals are able to put a 3rd goal home in what would be a very short span.
This is Miles Merritt to take this free kick. About 6 or 7 yards outside the box on the near side. You'll probably watch that massive bodies near the top of the box crash the 6, and that's exactly what we're going to see here as Merritt puts it towards the back, headed down, kicked out of harm's way by Juhas, and that'll give Chicago State possession.
Yeah, Zuniga got the shot away there, but it was blocked after the diving header effort.
And miscommunication on that pass again, and Incarnate Word just comes right back. So Cardinals all over the Cougars here in the second half. Nothing at half. 2 quick second half goals by Incarnate Word have given them a 2-0 lead, and really they're feeling good. They're able to be patient with the ball now. They have a 2-0 lead, so they'll work it side to side, looking for those cracks in the Cougars' armor. Yeah,
they have been patient, probing. The passes have been crisper. They've been creative here in the second half. It's been scintillating for them. You got to love the spacing and the width, really. They are really spreading out this Chicago State defense.
Yeah, and that spacing is what's keeping for the Cougars from being able to play that really physical and aggressive style of defense. Is players are spread out all over the field, and it becomes one-on-one pretty much everywhere. Cougars have it here. Juhas taps it back. There's Ibarra over to the far side. Allen now. Calwayne taking his time, rolls it over to the far side. Cougars cross midfield. Rolled forward, misses Sergiev, and Incarnate Word will take possession. And this feels a little bit more like what we've seen from Chicago State offensively as they try to create offense through not turnovers. Again, most of their offense this season has been created via turnover and turning in the counterattack. They struggle when they try to create their offense through anything other than a counterattack. And we're seeing that a little bit here in the second half, whereas in the first half, we saw some really crisp offense from Chicago State, really from the beginning. but it's been all Cardinals here in the second half so far.
Yeah, it's just a game of keep away right now. I mean, Chicago State, when they are able to finally get possession and poke it free, they don't have it for too long. We're seeing a lot of deep balls high over the top. Some miscommunications when they're trying to weave through this Incarnate Ward side. And, well, they look terrific so far here in the second half to the Cardinals.
Yeah, and they're completely content to just pass that ball around the outside of this shell. And you know, Chicago State's the team that's got to do all the running. They have to try to play catch up, and this is fitting right into the Cardinals Cardinals pace of play here. They're looking for those cracks, and they'll work around both sides of the ball until they're able to find a hole in the Chicago State defense. It looks like we're going to have a corner kick here, so a set play coming out of this, and Giannis DeBar checking back in for Chicago State, and Celo DePoco will check back in for Incarnate Word.
So DeBar, the midfielder, comes on, but, I mean, for the Cardinals, this is bringing on one of your forwards who started the game, and DePoco, who started every one of their 10 games so far. I think Edu Perez, the senior from Spain, is the man on top.
DePoco with a couple of goals as well on the season, so they bring in a goal scorer here already with a 2-0 lead. So we're down to under 30 minutes here in the second half. Ball curves in, punched out of there by Fontana. The shot off the foot, and when things are going your way, they're going your way. So that shot off the outside of the foot lands right on the foot of an Incarnate Word ball carrier, and the Cardinals are able to maintain possession. So it was a miss hit on the shot, and handball in the box, and it's being waved off. They're going to call a handball here.
No, it's going to be a goal.
Oh, they're going to count that?
I think they were saying no handball, but on the second chance opportunity there, slotted home. It's going to be 3-0 to the roadside.
And I saw the official kind of wave his arms to the side. I thought that meant they were waving that ball off, but nope, another goal here for the Cardinals in the second half. And Incarnate Word is really taking control of this game here in the second half. 3 quick goals. Shot just from the top of the box. It came down, fell right onto the foot of a Cardinal who put it past Lucas Fontana for the third goal in the first 17 minutes here in the second half. So what was a 0-0 game has quickly deteriorated into a 3-0 rout for the Cardinals.
So how about Celo DePoco, who just checked in again? He picks up his third goal. He's now one behind the team leader in Armendariz, who just picked up his fourth only a mere matter of moments ago. But DePoco checks in, and, I mean, within less than 60 seconds, he's back in the scoring ledger. And it's 3-0. I mean, they have opened up Pandora's box, and they have just absolutely dominated this second half.
Yeah, that's either really good coaching or good luck if you're Incarnate Word. You make the substitution as Kiki Lara, the head soccer coach for the Cardinals, puts DePoco back out there, and he rewards him with his third goal of the season, and the Cardinals with a 3-0 lead here. Chicago State now in all sorts of trouble. Ball rolled through, not enough on that, looking for Sergiev. And Incarnate Word now, fancy footwork in the box by Willie Aguilar to get through a couple of gray jerseys. It's bodied down by Sergiev, and Chicago State will take possession.
Question now is just where do you go for answers? Because seemingly nothing is working in your favor. I mean, the ball has just been hemmed in, it's been pinned in, however you want to describe it. It's been on the Chicago State side of the field in terms of their defense and their own goal pretty much this entire second half to this point, which has been 18 minutes.
Yeah, it was a really balanced first half. We saw some good opportunities for both sides, and it was a really well-matched first half, but this first 17, 18 minutes, as you mentioned, Max, has been all black and red, and they've taken advantage of opportunities. Chicago State was not able to take advantage of their opportunities in the first half, and because of that, you look up and it's now 3-0 Incarnate Word. The long ball looking for Juhas. That'll elude him, roll across the end line, and that'll be a goal kick.
Everything's been just a little bit off, and you're trying to see that pick up some kind of sense of urgency as 2 more subs are going to come on.
Checking in Giannis Smeg and Ilary Odiambo, who probably has been the best player out on the field for Chicago State today. Number 17 in gray has looked really, really good for the Cougars. Didn't get the start, checked in at about the 10-minute mark, started in the second half, has been sitting on the bench here for the last 10 or 15 minutes, comes back in. Giannis Smeg, the junior from France, checking in for the first time.
Yeah, I think Odiambo and Shepard have been the most dangerous attacking players so far for the Chicago State side. Shepard's out there right now. We haven't seen much from him here in the second half stint after he subbed back on, but in the first half, he was great going up that left wing.
We're going to have a foul called. It's going to be a foul called on Ibarra, knocking down DePoco. So another set piece here for Incarnate Word. Granted, this one's not 30 yards outside the box, but still potentially dangerous.
Yeah, Ibarra kind of just climbed over the backside and got into that neck area of DePoco.
Merritt puts that one towards the box, but it's knocked away. There is Odiambo now, coming down the far side. Stops right around midfield, circles back. Tipped forward, gets it back, now with some time and space. Dribbles forward, rolls it up ahead to Curiel. The right foot deflected near the top of the box. Cardinals will take possession and chip it out of harm's way. And on the counterattack now, Incarnate Word with a lot of space. As they approach midfield with a 3-0 lead. That's Merritt in the middle of the field. Rolls it down to Aguilar. Aguilar now down low. Incarnate Word playing it back. Trying to attack the far side. The shot deflected down in the box. And no foul called. And that'll be a goal kick. So another potential dangerous chance there for Incarnate Word. Chicago State, they maybe bailed out a little bit by a non-call.
Yeah, DePoco at it again in the mix there, just outside the 6. Thought he got across the body of the defender and might have been clipped. It looked like, I thought that was going to be a penalty, but no foul was the call, and I think the ref has given the benefit of the doubt to guys on more than one occasion. We haven't seen a whole lot of whistles for fouls today, just the 6 so far at this point.
Yeah, it's been a pretty clean game. Incarnate Word with a 3-0 lead here in the second half. All 3 goals scored in the second half as Danny Sergiev tries to dribble through the defense. He's fouled, so it'll be a chance for Chicago State.
Miles Merritt has kind of helped lock down this midfield, though. It's made it so it's been a very stagnant, kind of disjointed effort in the second half for Chicago State, trying to move their way forward into advanced spots that kind of have really heavily relied on the long ball over the top, and it just has not worked for them.
Throw in here for Juhas. Taps it to space, but there's nobody there but black jerseys, and that's kind of field awareness. You got to know where your teammates are. That pass went to an area where there were 4 black jerseys and no gray jerseys. Rolled ahead. Chicago State on that far side, taking it wide. The shot in, deflects out, and that'll be a corner kick. So didn't make it in on goal, but Cougars now at least with a potential corner kick from that far corner.
I think that was Smeg that got the cross away. Beautiful, fancy footwork, and then he just whipped in a curler to the top of the 6. A very dangerous ball. That's the best kind of creativity in the attacking third we've seen from the Cougars in the second half.
Juhas will take the corner. Right foot, bends it towards the back post, eludes everybody, but kept in by the Cougars on the near side and just banged out of trouble. And DePoco plays it back. And Incarnate Word rolls it forward. And we're seeing a lot of space for the Cardinals that we didn't see in that first half. DePoco on the through ball, and he'll be whistled down for
I don't
offsides.
even know that DePoco was ever really trying to track that down. That was maybe every step he was looking over at our near side assistant to see if that flag was going to come up. He knew he was offside.
He knew he was offsides. You figure at this point I may as well keep going and see if I can get away with it, but he did not get away with it. And we're going to take a hydration break here with 22 minutes, 37 seconds left to go in what has turned into a lopsided 3-0 Incarnate Word lead. Max and I will be back with the rest of the second half here right after this. 22 minutes, 37 seconds left. Aaron and Max bringing you Chicago State, Ohio Valley Conference men's soccer, as the Cougars are playing host to the Incarnate Word Cardinals. Both teams looking for their first conference victory of the season. And at halftime, it's kind of a coin flip, right, Max? Not really sure who was going to break through first. The stats showed that Incarnate Word maybe had the better of play, but just from the eye test, I would say the Cougars played a better first half, but things have sort of gone sideways for the Cougars here in the second 45.
Yeah, you would have loved to have been a fly on the wall now in hindsight for a Kiki Lara halftime speech. And you want to know exactly what was said, because whatever he said, it might be what the Denver Broncos were telling their side a little north of here at halftime, because, I mean, things have completely flipped the script. Not that they were bad or poor in any way in the first 45 minutes, but it has been a completely different side here with the second 45. They have imposed their will.
And it's been a...
Oh, that was loud. You could hear that from all the way up here. That was shin guard hitting shin guard, and that was a heavy challenge there.
That was Calwayne Allen. Let's see, he's going to get a yellow card for that tackle.
Yeah, that was a reckless play. That was a dangerous play, and it's coming right next to both teams' benches, too.
Calwayne pleading his case. But as good as Incarnate Word has looked here in the second half, you almost look at Chicago State and say, well, what happened, right? I mean, as both teams get a little feisty here in the second half, and it's conference play, right? I mean, it might be the first year of the conference, but it's still conference play, so everybody gets a little more invested in what's going on in the field, as Norris Howe's having a discussion with the officials. And
yeah, Shepard had to be held back, and the coaching staff is out there. Norris Howe is just right next to the assistant official. And still down on the pitch, I think most importantly, is Topoko, who you hope is okay. He is not on the field of play right now. He is just outside this near side touchline.
He's up on both feet now. He looks like he's all right. But yeah, that was a bit of a dangerous play right in front of two officials. There were two purple jerseyed officials right there. And Calwayne Allen called for the hard foul. Norris Howe's still pleading his case. He's not going to win, but pleading his case. And as I was saying, Max, as good as Chicago State played in the first half, you kind of wonder what's happened here in the second half, right? I mean, they really, we've talked about this a number of times, they really controlled the pace of play in the first half. They had the better of the scoring opportunities, even though the shots on goal were equal at the end of the first half. Chicago State had the better of the opportunities, but here in the second half, that attacking offense, that high-pressure defense has really been non-existent for the Cougars.
Yeah, it's just been gorgeous. I mean, the positivity of the play moving forward from the Cardinals. I mean, the defense has been sublime, but it's been all the best action has been in the Chicago State box with the clinical finishes. Just some great opportunities going forward. DePoco is getting some high fives. It looks like he is going to check out and go hit the bench. And I think there's really no need to try to force the issue with the guy who just got nicked up, just got banged up here on this near side. Not a ton of time left. You're up by 3. He's already found the scoring ledger. Yeah. Allow him to heal up in the days to come.
Yeah, let him take a breather as Edgar Soto, 5'9" senior, checking in. So they replace DePoto, who has 3 goals on the season now, with Soto, who's got one of his own. So not a huge drop-off, but we're finally ready to get going here after that stoppage and a little bit of a, kerfuffle. I don't know what you would call it. It wasn't quite a...
good old-fashioned little skirmish.
Yeah,
little
skirmish.
Donnybrook.
Yeah, there you go. Wasn't a fight. It was, I think those are good words.
That is a terrible turnover.
That is a bad pass, and here's an opportunity, and there's a nice slide tackle as Sergiev would have walked in one-on-one, but you're right, that was not a good pass on a free kick by Incarnate Word. And
that was just a rare freshman moment for Miles Merritt. It just came on a free kick where he squared it to the middle of the field, and there was nobody on his team right there. There's another heavy foul, and they're starting to come here in the late action.
Yep. Now we have a Chicago State Cougar player down. Holding that left leg, but hopping back up.
all eyes in the soccer world here in the United States are going to be fixed upon Chicago in just a few days now, because Messi and Inter Miami are coming to town on Wednesday night at Soldier Field.
Yeah, did you see how much tickets go for at a Inter Miami game down in Miami? Those tickets are going for thousands of dollars to watch the great Messi play for Inter Miami. And that was a team that was winless before Messi came on board, and I think they've only lost once since he joined the team. So it's unbelievable. I guess it's not unbelievable what happens when the best player in the world joins your team does, right?
Yeah, when you get the best player in the world, you get a couple of his buddies from Barcelona to come join you as well. But yeah, tickets for the Leagues Cup final when they were taking on Nashville on the road, those were actually, I'm trying to get that, was that home or not, were more expensive than any Champions League tickets.
Yep. Here's Incarnate Word now with another opportunity, rolling it through and whistle down for an offsides. But yeah, bringing Messi to MLS can only do good things for American soccer. Obviously, more exposure, more interest. What it's done for Inter Miami themselves. I mean, they're already talking about having enough money now to build a new stadium, and I mean, it's unbelievable what one player can do for a league. But if you're a fan of soccer, it's great. It's absolutely, if you're a fan of American soccer especially, it's great because it's just more visibility for the sport and more talent for the young kids in America to look up to and say, I want to be like him and I want to play that sport and I want to do this.
Yeah, I think early on they were even talking about just how much of a shot in the arm it's been for the Inter Miami social media pages. I think they have more of a following now than like any team in the NFL on Instagram. Yep. It's been wild. It's been even more so than Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce.
Well, I don't know about that. But I mean, I think, you got to remember, I mean, a lot of people don't think about this, that, it's the most popular sport in the world. It may not be the most popular sport in the United States, but it's the most popular sport in the world. So when the best player for the most popular sport in the world joins a team in America, you're going to see that sort of bump both on the field and off the field. Speaking of Kelce and Taylor Swift, you see the NFL
Good
was
segue,
giving,
anyway.
Yeah, it was. The NFL giving away Taylor Swift themed friendship bracelets at Arrowhead Stadium today. Yes. So that's a smart league. They're taking advantage of however long Travis and Taylor choose to see each other.
I think they said Travis Kelce gained like 800,000 Instagram followers in the last week, and the NFL player that has gained the second most followers over that time is his older brother.
I love it. Love it. I love it when music and sports.
That's two very different worlds colliding head-on last
100%.
week in a suite in Kansas City.
Yeah, talking about, millions and millions of Swifties around the world who are now exposed to Travis Kelce.
There's an influx of people Googling what is a field goal.
Right. Right. Yes.
What's a down in football?
Yep. Hey, whatever it takes, though, to attract more people to the sport, I'm all for. Football is obviously the most popular sport in America, and if Taylor Swift is a fan of it, it's only going to increase that visibility, believe it or not.
Yeah, just to bring it back here, Miles Merritt's, but he just checked out the freshman. I have been incredibly impressed. Outside of the one turnover, which unfortunately for him was one of the last spells of play he was involved with today, but he was magnificent in the midfield. Yeah,
for the most part, played pretty well. As you said, made that freshman mistake, but you'll take 65, 70 great minutes out of a freshman in his second conference match. Chicago State just looking to finish strong here, going to get on the board and kind of finish. They had two great opportunities in the first half. There's Sergiev, top of the box, shot in, and that deflects. What a save by Constant. That one hit a body, and that was ticketed for the inside of that near post, but Constant making another great save.
Oh, it was trickling in slow motion by the end of it, but full stretch, Hugo Constant. Boy, it's hard to be on your toes when you've had to do absolutely nothing over the course of the second half, but a nice play.
Rolled in there. Calwayne Allen has it in the box. Allen walks in. The shot will go wide. Not a bad idea from Calwayne. Got himself a little bit of space with that turnaround, but just shot it wide of the near post.
Yeah, I think at this point, down 3, you're just trying to get some shots off and hope you can either find the back of the net with just a blistering effort or have a bounce fortuitously go your way.
We talked earlier about SIU sort of expected to be the cream of the crop in the OVC this year. They've taken a 1-0 second half lead here over Eastern Illinois, who Incarnate Word will face down in San Antonio down on the 5th. So SIU looking to move to 7-0-2 on the season. And really, as I said, kind of the best of the best that the OVC has to offer. Ball through to Juhas. Donut with some space in the box. The left-footed cross, and coming in and knocking it wide is Chicago State. I think that was Smeg knocking that wide.
Yeah, I think it was last touched by an Incarnate Word player, but Smeg, he did all the hard work there, getting that forward.
Juhas, and it feels like Chicago State has turned it on here a little bit. It's unfortunately, I think, maybe a little bit too late. The header, and there it is. Chicago State breaks through. They get on the board. It is 1-0. We talk about those set pieces with those taller players, and Chicago State takes advantage of it here, picks up a goal.
Yeah, absolutely needed for the home team. Hey, we sat it out of the gate here in the second half. Even though it was goalless after 45 minutes, you still felt like, given what these two teams have showcased in their first 9 or 10 games, like one goal wasn't going to be enough to do it. I think this was Janusz DeBar that got onto the end of it, but just a beautiful header to the side netting.
And Chicago State has scored late in games. Has scored late in games here throughout the season. In fact, their 2 victories came on late goals. So this one's not over yet, as it's taken away by Juhas. Juhas walking in all alone on Constant. Juhas with the left foot in. The shot, and it's in again. That is Jai Shepard, number 9, and 2 goals in less than 30 seconds. And Max, this game ain't over.
That was a blink of an eye. Shepard goes, collects the ball out of the back of the cage, puts it right back on the center line. It's 3-2. It's a 1-goal game. There's still 16 minutes left. This is 2 goals in an absolute flash.
And I didn't even get a chance to finish my thought. Chicago State plays really well at the end of games. And you can see there, tapped in with the left foot, Jai Shepard, as gets the Cougars within 1. And Incarnate Word taking some time here down to our left as the Cougars 2 goals in about 30 seconds. Assist from Donut Juhas, who played the ball off his shoulder and was able to. Okay, so that first goal was scored by Ian Topete, number 6. He was the one who got Chicago State on the board.
36 seconds, by the way, is officially the time between those 2 goals.
Topete with his 2nd goal of the season. Then 36 seconds later, Jai Shepard picks up his 2nd goal of the season. And this ain't over yet. Chicago State 16 minutes. And they are now down 3-2. So, again, this team, here we go. Another opportunity. Shepard takes the ball away. Shepard rolls it over to the far side. The left-footed shot deflected down, and they're gonna whistle that off. Chicago State wanted a handball desperately, but that ball's lofted out of harm's way. And there's a whistle and a foul called on Soto.
Boy, the way that the last couple minutes has gone, as soon as Shepard picked that up in an advanced position, you kind of just thought, hey, we're about to be tied all of a sudden, because something that was not the case for the first 60 minutes or so. Chicago State had not been forcing the issue. They really hadn't been pressing high and forcing turnovers, but that's how they got their 2nd goal, and that's how they just had a great opportunity into the box. I think that was the right call on no handball there. I think it hit the arm, but the arm was very tucked in close to the side of the body.
And Jai Shepard, who you talked about as being one of the players that you've been most impressed with here this afternoon, kind of confirms those beliefs as he picks up his 2nd goal of the season. 36 seconds after Ian Topete picked up his goal, and this will be a throw-in. No, kept in.
And had some side spin to it.
Yeah, it's kept in, rolled towards the box, and that's just booted out of there for a throw-in for Chicago State. The quick throw in. They're not wasting any time. Back to Calwayne Allen. Allen puts the long ball into the box and punched out by Constant as the 6'5" Danny Sergiev was down there waiting for the header. And we're going to have a whistle and a foul called here on Chicago State, going for the slide tackle. But you feel all of a sudden, as we have a stoppage of play, you can just feel kind of the energy return to this Cougars team. That first goal was good, but you pick up that 2nd one, and all of a sudden you look up and you go, hey, wait a minute, we're still in this. And you can just feel the momentum go from the right side of the field to the left.
Yeah, I don't think there was really any kind of a change when it comes to the personnel out there, but it was more of a tactical, just trying to advance it, trying to press it, trying to win it back, get a bounce or two going your way. We saw a very poor turnover that led to the second goal, a turnover that looked kind of like the free kick one that we saw earlier on that Miles Merritt turnover. But this time, Chicago State able to burn them with it, and now we're going to see a handful of subs check back in here as all of a sudden, I mean, we were just talking about 10 minutes ago when DePoco checked out after the injury. Hey, there's no need to try to force the issue here. He just took a big knock on a heavy slide challenge. But now that's a guy who it looks like is gearing up to come back out here because all of a sudden it's a game out.
Yep, and checking back in also for Chicago State will be the freshman Dasha Curiel. So Chicago State going with the playmaker Curiel back out there. And yeah, we'll have 3 more Incarnate Word players looking like they're getting ready to check back in here at some point as well. But you're right. We talked about DePoco just, maybe taking it easy after taking that big shot. And now that we got a ball game here as we're under 15, he'll be checking back in at the next opportunity. So it'll be a free kick here for Incarnate Word. It's down on the near side, played by Calwayne Allen. Out of bounds for a throw-in. And here come those 3 substitutions. DePoco, Miles Merritt will also check back in, and Timothy Ospina. So 3 starters checking back in here for the final 14-18.
Yeah, and pretty much right after Miles Merritt's run of action on the field, you thought came to a conclusion, 2 goals right in the back of their net.
Well, and you talked earlier about how he had controlled kind of the midfield, and Chicago State was able to get their 2 goals as soon as Merritt came out of the game. So get him back in there in a hurry to try to lock down that midfield for Incarnate Word. And this doesn't feel like, a lot of times you'll see in many sports, kind of that defense play, that prevent defense, right? When you get a big lead late and that gives the other team an opportunity to kind of work your way back into it. It's not what it felt like here with Chicago State. Cougars got that 1 goal off a fortunate bounce, then a turnover. This wasn't Incarnate Word playing back and Chicago State putting pressure on. Cougars took advantage of an opportunity, and it's going to be a foul called on Allen. They took advantage of an opportunity, a little momentum, got another goal, and you look up, and it's 3-2.
And now all of a sudden, you're Incarnate Word, and you're thinking, boy, how can we refine that energy that we tried to bottle and harness earlier? Because not that they're playing desperately or anything, but they're up by a goal 13 minutes to go in a match that 10 minutes ago they thought they're going to win this with ease. They might win by 4 or 5. That certainly seemed more likely than it being a draw on the end of the day, as it looks like we're going to see a booking.
Yeah, on Norris House actually picks up the yellow card. So the Chicago State head coach picks up a yellow.
I think that's been coming for a while, ever since that foul was whistled on Allen right in front of the bench.
Yeah, I think the Cardinals have done a nice job here over the last couple of minutes, sort of refocusing and balancing the game out here a little bit. They took that timeout after the second goal as a team, as that ball's headed well wide of the near post. They took a couple of minutes before they kicked off after that second goal as a team down here by the 25 or 30 yard line, and just took a couple minutes and settled themselves down. And they've done a nice job here over the last couple, sort of just settling things down here in the second half. Chicago State trainer almost took a ball to the noggin.
Gotta keep your head on a swivel.
Gotta get off that phone if you're at a live sporting event.
She's checking to see that final drive. Bears down 3, Fields in possession.
Yeah, she's watching the Bears game and almost took that ball off the side of the face. So the Cougars down by a goal, 12 minutes and 20 seconds left. Allen with the long ball into the center, headed down. But there is Merritt, who's played so well as a freshman. Takes possession, and now the other direction. Incarnate Word. Good slide tackle by Chicago State. Cougars take possession. Here's Shepard. Jaye rolls it over to Juhas. Juhas takes it down deep. Juhas with the left-footed cross and banged out of trouble, but there was nobody there for Incarnate Word, and they may have been better served just to let that ball roll through, because now Chicago State's going to get a corner kick.
Boy, was that Eduardo Flores with the slide tackle and was able to dispossess Ospina, who looked like he was going to break out the other way. That was tremendously done at the midfield.
So Juhas will take this corner. Right foot Last couple of times we've seen him try to put it by the back post. We'll see what he does with this one. The low cross headed out, and he'll just get the ball back, and we'll do it all over again. So this time the low line drive. Again, big bodies down there for Chicago State. 6'4", Cal Wayne Allen, 6'5". Danny Sergiev a little bit higher towards the back post, and it comes through, and out with it. It comes DePoco with some speed, has it taken away from him though. Shepard now, Jaye walks around DePoco, takes it wide. He's pushed down from behind. That is a shove from behind by Ospina, and here's a pretty good opportunity for a set play for Chicago State, about 7 or 8 yards outside the box.
Going back in the corner kick just briefly, Juhas, I mean, he sent that way too close to the keeper. That should have been comfortable for Constant to come off his line and collect. He just completely misjudged it. He jumped up, but was nowhere near the proper spot on the pitch to try to go up and get it. And now you got a chance here with the size advantage to go maybe tie this up with a header.
Juhas there with DeBar. Looks like it'll be Juhas, though, playing it with the left foot. He's ready to go. Left foot into the box towards the back post, headed out by Incarnate Word, headed right back in by Chicago State. Shepard turns and fires and puts it over the crossbar.
That was a beautiful ball in from Juhas, and that's just too rushed. That's a little bit too hurried, I think, for Jaye Shepard. Maybe he needs some communication to let him know he's got a little bit of space there. But you got to bring that down under control and then try to get a shot away or do something with it. I think he was never really going to be too close with that kind of ambitious effort.
Yeah, more often than not, what you see there is what you see. The shooter getting the ball underneath his foot and putting it up over the crossbar. So we're under 10 minutes, 9:43 left to go, and we have another stoppage of play as Shepard is down, as well as Hugo Constant, and that's a huge issue for Incarnate Word, as the roster that was given to us today has no backup goalie on it. So Constant now down on his backside. I didn't see what happened to him, but he looks to be in. It might be just cramps. Yeah, they're working.
It looks like they're working on that right calf.
Right calf, so maybe just cramps. As it is, we talked about this a couple of times. It feels more like July 1st than it does October 1st here in Chicago. 81 degrees and not a cloud in the sky. Down on the field, it's probably closer to 90. So, who would have thought that October 1st we'd be having hydration breaks at a soccer game? But we've seen that a couple of times here, and cramps down at the left side for the Incarnate Word. I would say probably their most important player, their goaltender, Hugo Constant.
Yeah, Constant's played in every game but one. They did see Alejandro Nilatore out there once, fifth-year goalkeeper who's 6'4". Constant's only listed at 5'9", but obviously it's monumental for the road team to see him see out this game. 9:43 to go, 3-2. Hey, I think if you look back at what we've seen so far, on paper, this is probably what we expected, a high-scoring affair where it was going to be 3-2, 2-2, something in that kind of a ballpark. And at halftime, you kind of stepped back and looked at it, and you're like, the goals might have been there, but I think the defenses played a little bit better than we expected. But we've seen the clinical finishes here in the second half. Yeah,
both teams struggled to finish in that first half. It wasn't a lockdown defensive struggle, as Incarnate Word had 7 shots on goal. Both teams had 7 shots. Both teams had 3 shots on goal, and really all 6 of those shots on goal were prime opportunities, including Chicago State had 2 essentially shooter on goalie inside the 6, and they weren't able to finish that. Here, defenses have opened up a little bit. Both offenses have been able to close things down a little bit better, and Chicago State still on the short end of this one. Here comes DePoco now playing it over to the far side. Over to Rios. Eric Rios cuts it back towards the middle. Top of the box. The shot in off the crossbar of the goalpost and back out. But that's a dangerous opportunity to be given up with 9 minutes left, down by a goal.
Yeah, it all started with a very poor half clearance and just a miss hit and a turnover from Ibarra. Then creating all of that was Eric Rios on that left-hand side. He was able to find Ospina just outside the top of the box. There's your controlled, beautifully done first touch, and then he just unleashes a cracker, but it hit the goalpost of the crossbar. There are two right next to each other. That came back with vicious authority his direction. DeBar
checking out for Chicago State, and Uru now checking back in for the Cougars. Uru now 2 goals in 3 games this season, hoping for some last-minute offense. Cougars 2 goals in 36 seconds after trailing 3-0 to make this a 3-2 affair, but they need 1 more to get this thing even. They'll take possession here. Plays it over to the far side. Cougars showing some patience here. D-to-D passing. Rolled up ahead. There's Allen. Colwayne back.
And we haven't kind of seen this slow, methodical approach working their way down the field yet in this half, even with the goals.
Yeah, the Cougars tend to play sort of a hair-on-fire style of soccer, both offensively and defensively, and it can be fun to watch, but it can lead to a lot of goals on both sides. So, yeah, they don't. Not a lot of this, as you said, methodical up the field. Trying to work both sides. See if they can make it work here, though. That pass eludes its attendant target, and DePoco in a 1-on-2 race down the field. He has some help coming up down the backside. The shot in just wide of the near post, and he had Willie Aguiar coming in that near side. If he had just feathered that through, Aguiar would have had an open net.
Yeah, great ball ahead. It all starts with that long ball from Miles Merritt down towards the corner, and DePoco has been just showcasing the burst in all directions. I think that was a ball that, when it was initially hit, you thought was going to be tracked down by our player, who's right now down on the pitch. But DePoco, that was beautifully done. He almost found that far corner, almost tucked it into the side net, just in front of the far post.
And we've seen a lot of stoppage play today, and I think that's a function of the heat. Again, not really expecting the temperatures to be quite this hot here in Chicago on this October 1st. So we're seeing a lot of cramping, a lot of needing to take a break and have that leg massaged or leg worked out, if you will. So another stoppage of play with just over 7 minutes left.
We got a lot of stoppage starts here in the second half, too, after we talked about how fluid was the first half. Well, with the goals, the offside, the injuries, the water breaks, the arguments, there's been a lot here in the second half.
Well, that's our fault, clearly. Juhas will take the throw in down low, gets it to Sergiev. Juhas back to Sergiev. Sergiev with the left foot into the box. And that'll be a throw in for the Cougars. Danny gets it into the box. Danny rolls it through, looking for Shepard. And the Cardinals on the counterattack.
This is where it really opens up, and there's maybe a numbers advantage right now going forward.
Yep, Chicago State starting to move some of their defense and midfield forward to get this late goal. So you see the defenseman Juhas stayed on the offensive side of midfield the entire time. The shot from Uru now, and the save is made by Constant. I think that was going to go wide of the near post, but Constant not taking any chances at all, covers up.
Yeah, just a glimmer of goal there in a tight window, working through a lot of traffic for Urinal. Got the shot away, didn't get a ton on it, though, and couldn't put it on target.
It was placed nicely, though. I mean, that forced Constant to make a diving save on a ball that didn't have a ton on it. This one's a whole lot easier for Hugo. The throw gets it out to Aguilar. So we're down to 5.5. Ball rolled forward. Allen pumps it back to Fontana. Lucas. Not played a bad game, giving up 3 goals, but really hasn't played poorly. 3 goals he gave up were all really not a whole lot he could have done about any of them. Was able to get a fingertip on one of them, and I think if you asked him, that's the one he probably would like back. I would think if you ask any goalie, if they get a hand on it, they feel like they should probably stop it. But it's 3-2 Incarnate Word here as we approach the 5-minute mark. Chicago State looking for their first OVC victory, their first home victory, and their third victory of the season. But they've got some work to do here in the final 5. Played back by the Cardinals now. Rolled forward. Aguiar cross, headed out by Chicago State. That'll be a throw-in for Incarnate Word.
And you're hoping it's not deja vu if you're the Cardinals, because you had a 3-2 lead late on Thursday, that match at home versus Houston Christian, but that was 3-2. At the time, it was, I believe, 10-on-10, and then they got another red card, and it was 10-on-9. They conceded the goal in the 80th minute. That was the equalizer, and that was the final in the 3-3 game, where they had 2 guys sent off that we mentioned right at the top, both obviously missing this game due to suspension, and they're hoping to see this through.
And another stoppage of play. And we are ready now. The Cardinals along that far sideline. Play it back and starting to see a little bit more aggressive Chicago State defense as they get right up on the ball carrier to try to take it away and counterattack. Oh, nice play. Spin pass with the back heel.
I think that was Smag again, who just came on, and he's looked terrific in now 2 stints in the second half. He was out there when they scored both of the goals.
Throw in here for the Cardinals. They get it in, chipped forward. Knocked down by Incarnate Word. That'll be a throw in now for Chicago State. Cougars have to hustle. There's 3.5 left now. Udo now with it, rolls it over to space, and what do we got?
I think they were saying that it was a
bad illegal throw-in violation. You don't see those that's like traveling in basketball. You call it on every throw-in, but you never see it. That's a break for Incarnate Word as they're content to take their time as that clock's ticking away down to about 3 minutes now. Out of bounds, and Chicago State will they get the ball back? No, it'll be another throw-in for the black and red. Cougars 2 goals in 36 seconds to make this interesting, but Cardinals have done a nice job settling things down since that 36-second outburst by Chicago State, and rolled towards the top of the box, tipped forward now. The shot in. Fontana makes the slave. Lucas looking to hustle. The long boot looking for Curiel. Headed towards midfield, and that was played with a shoulder. Udu now tips it forward to Okumu. Bill Okumu. Knocked away from him, out of bounds. That'll be a throw-in for Chicago State. So we're down to 2:10. Cougars looking to hustle.
And this is a time where you got to press everybody forward and have everybody join the attack.
Cougars have the ball. The low center. Kept in there. Played back.
Under 2 minutes remaining in the game.
Ibarra over to Allen. Back to Ibarra. Over to Cal Wayne, and Cal Wayne has to go chase it down. Rolls the ball forward with the left foot, rolls it out of bounds, and Cal Wayne just puts that left hand over his face as if to say, man, not the right time for that. And Incarnate Word taking their time as we're down to 90 seconds. The long throw-in headed back by Allen. Curiel tips it to Okumu. The ball knocked out of bounds. Heads up. Curiel to take the throw in. Throws it into Allen. Cal Wayne all the way back to Ibarra as we're down to a minute now. Ibarra, the long left foot. Top of the box. Udu now able to play it. Rolls it over to the far side. Chicago State looking for one last opportunity. The center knocked out of bounds, and here it comes with a late corner kick on the far side of the field. 44 seconds left. Looks like there's some confusion here for Chicago State. They don't know who's playing the ball, but you can even see Lucas Fontana is now up in the box. Headed out of the way. Fontana with the shot. Rolls into the top of the box. Calwayne Allen is knocked out of bounds. This will be a throw in for Curiel. We're down to 25 seconds. Curiel gets the throw in. The ball put into the box. It hits Allen in the side of the head. It's cleared out of harm's way by Incarnate Word, and that looks like it may do it. Into the final 15, Incarnate Word, one last push here as they look to maintain possession. There's a whistle and a foul, and that looks like it will do it. Are they going to stop the clock? I don't think they are. The clock runs out, and this one is a final 3-2. The Incarnate Word Cardinals defeat the Chicago State Cougars. Incarnate Word improves to 3-4-3 on the season, 1-0-1 in conference play. Chicago State drops to 2-7-1 rather, 0-2 in conference play. But it was a fun game. It was an exciting game. We saw good offense on both sides. Max, what are your final thoughts?
Just enough to get the job done. Huge win for Incarnate Word. They get their first ever OVC win. Win number 3 of the season, also surpasses their total from last year when they were an independent team. So massive win for them. Whatever was said at halftime by their coach, Kiki Lara, worked out tremendously in those opening 20-25 minutes of the second half. They slot home 3 goals, but I think there's something to build off of here for both teams. Yes, Incarnate Word, the Cardinals get the win, but Chicago State, you got to love the late fight that they showed. 2 goals in the span of 36 seconds. They were the team kind of imposing their will towards the final end of this game. They came up just short, 3-2 final. We probably expected about 4 or 5 goals today. I think we got a thriller in the second half.
Yeah, it was a really fun game to watch and be a part of. Next up for the Cardinals is the 5th. They'll be back at home taking on Eastern Illinois, while the Cougars will be right here Thursday night taking on Liberty. So for my partner Max Toma and the rest of the championship crew here at Gwendolyn Brooks High School, my name is Aaron Schellen, and once again your final score: Incarnate Word 3, Chicago State 2. We'll see you Thursday night for Cougars and Liberty. Have a great rest of your weekend, everybody.